let's talk about this beautiful 7 windows from Minase. Now, when I think about Japanese watch brands, a couple brands come to mind first. I think of Casio, G-Shock, Seiko, Citizen. I think of Orient. When I think of higher-end Japanese watch brands, I'm thinking of The Citizen. I think of Grand Seiko, and I also think of Creedor. I don't necessarily think about Minase, so this is one of those under the radar brands that not a lot of watch collectors know about, but a brand that watch collectors should know about, especially if you enjoy Japanese watches, handcrafted watches, or truly limited watches. So this brand handcrafts less than 500 pieces every year. They are located in Minase, Japan, a remote area in the Akita prefecture, and it is a brand that was interestingly noticed to be worn by the former Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. Now, Shinzo Abe is known to be a watch collector. He has famously wore Citizen and Seiko and Omega, but recently he was spotted wearing a DeVito from Minase at a worldwide G20 summit. So just a fun fact there. Let's talk about the history of this brand, and I'm happy to say it is not made up history. It's not manufactured heritage like some other upstart brands try to pull off. So the brand Minase is a subsidiary of Kaiwo. Oh man, I don't know if I can say this properly. Forgive me. Kiowa Company Limited, which began as a tool manufacturer in the early 1960s. They eventually started creating tooling. They created cases for various watch brands. And after perfecting various manufacturing elements, they decided that they could start their own brand. So they did so in 2005, and that is Minase. So this has only been around for a little under 20 years. But when you have one in person, I can confirm that it's evident that they're handcrafted, that they're higher end, they're upscale. It's not just any old micro or upstart or independent. There is some weight. There is something behind, something tangible behind the creation here. You can tell that these are special pieces. And I also like the fact that they're not doing homages to more well-known watch designs from various brands. They're creating their own identity, their own design DNA, and they're doing so at a high level. So this specific 7 windows, this is a square style exhibition design that is very geometric, and the name comes from 7 different sapphire crystals that are set all around this case. So 2 on the side of the crown, 1 on the 9 o'clock side, there's 1 on the 6 and the 12 o'clock side, and then obviously a reverse exhibition case back, and then the top crystal, which is just, what a shape. I mean, take a look at this. Top down, it's curved at the various angles, and then it's double curved in profile design. So there is a lot of surface to reflect light and bring visual interest. I think something like this, I don't see very often. I've seen a couple brands here and there do a sidewall sapphire crystal, but definitely not to this degree. So it really is a true exhibition style where you see the dial, the components, the movement from all angles. And I think that's pretty cool myself. Now the case is a mixture of high polish finish, which is the same style that Grand Seiko uses to mirror polish their watches. They call it Suratsu polishing. The actual name is Salaz polishing, and that is actually originated in Switzerland. So Minase does the Suratsu polishing, and that is found on the case. It's also found on the bracelet design as well. Now I will show you an exploded 3D model of this specific 7 windows, and that just illustrates the intricacy of the design, the many layers of the execution. This is 38 millimeters in case diameter, 47 lug to lug, 13 in overall height, with 50 meters of water resistance. The overall design was inspired by Japanese 3D puzzles, and when you take a look at the exploded diagram, you can really see what a puzzle this is to fit together. For a square-shaped design, I think there are a lot of curvaceous elements, and that is found on the dominant 12 o'clock marker, the shape of the cutout for your exhibition style roulette date. I know not everybody will enjoy that style, but you know what? You're opening up the days of the week. Note that there are 7 openings, and that is in relation to the 7 windows design. It's an exhibition case, so why not have an exhibition date display? So curvaceous elements there, obviously the shape of the case when it comes to the profile, and then some of the edging of these various sapphire crystals. There is a lot of curvaceous elements at play, whereas the overall design is very linear. Now let's talk about this bracelet. I think this is a work of art. I am partial to a great bracelet, and this is a great bracelet. So a dramatic taper, a solid feel on wrist. There will be half links, so no micro adjustment in the milled clasp, but there is half links included. And note that there are no side screws visible while the watch is on wrist. You size this using screws that are set in the center of the reverse of each one of these links. This is a 5-link design, and it does have the Solaz polishing found in various elements. And note the angles, note the profile. So there is light being reflected from so many different facets and surfaces. This has a gem-like quality when you do a wrist roll. It dazzles, and I think it brings the overall design of the watch, the feel of the watch, up a notch. Now, speaking about the movement, this is a Swiss movement. This is a reliable ETA 2892 that carries the Elabor level finish. So you'll note blued screws, purling, striping, beveled edges, and then there will also be various coated plates and components found in the movement with a custom rotor. This will have 21 joules, beat 28,800 times every hour, and will have 50 hours of power reserve. Other notable details before we go into the negative aspects. I like the domed steel dial with the sunray PVD finish. I like the high polished markers. I like the fact that there is a little bit of lume found on the hands, and note the bent tip of the running seconds hand and the brushed and polished elements of your standard hands, the hour hand and the minute hand, and then how that kind of ties in with the brushed and polished elements of the faceted signed crown at the 3. This is a conical shape, and it will be a push-pull style. Now, I will say there are a couple things I would change, so let's get to that aspect. Let's get to the drawbacks. I think this watch could use some more ARC on these uniquely shaped crystals. I think that would cut down on some of the defined reflections, but I recognize with all of the curves and the shapes going on with this sapphire material, you're not going to eliminate all reflections, and I don't think you need to. I just think it should be improved to a greater degree. And I would also enjoy a micro adjustment system in a larger clasp, because I consider this more of a sports piece, a daily wear type of watch, and not something that's higher end that I would be afraid to get wet. And then lastly, a thread down crown just for the peace of mind. I think a lot of watch collectors would agree with me there. Now, as far as options go, this is available in stainless steel. It's available in yellow gold and in rose gold. And you also have the option of going with a hand-painted dial that really looks intricate and beautiful. Various options there in terms of the dial, the case material. You can buy this on bracelet, you can buy this on leather. I like having that option as a consumer. Now, for me personally, I am drawn to this square design, this very eye-catching design, but I'm also really interested in the DeVito, the one that is a little bit more traditional in its design and execution, and I hope to have one of those to review in the future. That is the watch of choice that I mentioned in the beginning of the video that Prime Minister Shinzo Abe was noticed wearing at the G20 summit. So I will place links in the description of this video. Please reach out with any questions you may have. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.